All right. Professor Bresnik, today we are presenting our decision analysis for launching a private nursing college in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. As your decision analysis team, our objective was to structure this opportunity and evaluate strategic alternatives using formal decision models and recommend strategy that maximizes the NPV while remaining competitive in a saturated market. Next slide, please. The decision is whether and how to open a new private nursing college. The opportunity is pretty clear. There is a nationwide shortage of nurses. Nursing degrees continue to provide strong returns of investment, and regional workforce initiatives support healthcare expansion. However, the risk is that the DFW market is highly competitive. Development timelines can vary significantly. Student demand and student population growth can introduce some uncertainty. Therefore, we framed the core question. What combination of location, development timeline, program offerings, market strategy, accreditation positioning, staffing models, and financial aid maximizes expected net profit? We separated controllable decisions from major uncertainties and specifically the decision development time and surrounding population to ensure a disciplined and analytical approach. For the bottom line, it um, it we recommend the aggressive strategy, as it achieved the highest mean value of 69, outperforming both intermediate and basic strategies. Its worst outcome remains strong at 65, demonstrating downside protection. The deterministic model ranked it the highest in total value contribution. Probabilistic analysis showed it consistently dominates across a full range of uncertainty. The life cycle cost models confirms it provides greater value while costing less than the intermediate strategy. Next slide, please.
So in order to get our model set up, we first had to frame the decision, starting with the vision statement. A vision statement it's an effective way to make sure that there's agreement on the purpose of the decision between the decision makers and stakeholders. So for our project, we are deciding on an optimum strategy for launching a private nursing college in the DFW area, considering a number of factors listed here. We are doing this to remain competitive in a competitive market while meeting the regional demand and needs. And we'll know we have made a good decision if the selected strategy achieves the highest value while satisfying accreditation and other operational constraints. So once you have your vision statement, we can start discussing with stakeholders and getting their issues from their state of mind. This kind of lays the ground for a high quality decision frame. We'll focus on some of the uncertainty issues later, specifically the city population or market size where the campus is based, as well as the developmental timeline. But really getting your issues list together is good and good step in framing your decision. So taking some of the issues outlined in the previous slide, we use the decision hierarchy framing method to determine just a clear statement of the scope and what decisions we're actually going to be making. And these are shown in the middle tier of the hierarchy. So we're going to be focusing on the combination of program offerings, launch timeline, marketing investment level, staffing volume level. And the bottom and top tier are decisions that are out of the scope for this project. Either they've already been made or they're for later evaluation once we have the middle tier evaluated. So next, we gathered insight from various stakeholders on issues they perceive. And since this is mostly about maximizing profit as well as meeting student satisfaction, we believe some of the most critical are going to be the economic issue row, where the decision authority is focusing on profitability as well as sustained profitability through the course of the college. And then as well as focusing on the student column to really make sure their concerns are addressed so that we have a reputable nursing college and have features that students want in a nursing college. And then next is our influence diagram. So all aspects that contribute to value are directly impacted by the strategy chosen, and they do not impact each other directly, as they can be controlled by cost and adjusted independently of each other. The two uncertainties here are development time and the number of students that'll be talked about later on in our models.
After multiple discussions with our decision makers and you, Professor Bresnick, we identified that the most pertinent objectives were to maximize student value, but also maximize profitability for the institution. So after consulting with multiple subject matter experts, we identified several value metrics, including postgraduate employment opportunities, accreditation eligibility, maximizing the programs offered, having a balanced student to employee ratio, offering financial aid opportunities, as well as targeting the largest potential market and minimizing development time while maximizing our marketing plan.
This slide summarizes our three bundled strategic alternatives: a basic, intermediate, and aggressive plan. Rather than individual variables, we evaluated complete strategic configurations. The basic focused on a minimalistic approach. A Dallas location with a 48-month development and only an LVN ADN program. We have a low faculty ratio and limited scholarship. It reduces complexity but limits growth and differentiation. Intermediate expands our program to offer the BSN program and shortens development time to 36 months and increases marketing and staffing. However, it introduces higher costs without proportional gain. Our aggressive plan accelerates development to 12 months, expands programs from LVN through DNP, and positions the college as a comprehensive institution immediately. When evaluated quantitatively, this strategy consistently produced the highest expected value. For that reason, it becomes the dominated alternative. Next slide, please.
So here's our deterministic analysis in which we made the value functions for each of the values that we had acquired earlier during our value hierarchy exercise. Based on subject matter expert opinions, we made these value functions based on what we prioritize in the project and what would provide the most value. This is a combination of both student success factors, like number of resources, and also monetary factors that would maximize our NPV, like development time and market population. Next slide. So as part of the deterministic analysis, we made a swing weight matrix. As you can see, each was given a specific weight of the overall value function that we did for our multiple objective decision analysis, with development time being the highest, as speed to market is crucial in a competitive atmosphere. And then the number of financial aid opportunities is shown to be the least based on profitability for us and success of other private institutions. Next slide, please. Here is the results of our deterministic analysis. As you can see, the aggressive strategy ended up providing the most value. You can see the ideal strategy over on the far right side, and each strategy shows what the strengths of their individual group strategy that Eunice went over earlier is. And you can see how it changes with development time and with employee to student ratios and other factors.
So let's talk about the life cycle costs. Here we have the operations costs. So this is a building acquisition, remodeling, upgrading our facilities. And this, you can see, separates the boys from the men in terms of location, build time, and that's the big distinguishing factor. So basic assumes that we are in it assumes that we are in Fort Worth, and that one, it has a pretty sizable cost for acquisition. And then the intermediate strategy assumes that we are in Dallas, and then the aggressive strategy is that we're in Frisco. And you can see that building acquisition, it does go down significantly just because of the desire for land. Some areas are less populated than others, And then the remodeling costs. So with the basic strategy, this is 12 months to launch. So we are getting people around the clock working on the site. We are getting experts in. We are getting third parties in to help remodel these sites. So that's why you're going to see a $2 million difference between the basic and intermediate, and then $4 million between aggressive and basic. And you'll see how that influences our recommendations later. Finally, operations management, that does have facility upgrades, that does have some distinction too because of labor costs. In terms of the academic side, you'll note that we assume the number of students that are enrolling in these sites is somewhat proportional to the number of students reachable in our population. So Dallas, the intermediate strategy, is going to have more potential students. And the big distinction here I want to point out is financial aid costs, because in the intermediate strategy, we're assuming that we are offering scholarship packages. So that is assuming about $10,000 per student, and that is the national average. And with the most students enrolling there, you can see that's $11 million. So that's almost as much, or if not more, what the building costs itself. And then for the aggressive strategy, with Frisco not having as many students and reserving 10% of seats for those exhibiting financial need, that would still only cost $500,000. So 5% of what this intermediate strategy is. So reflecting likewise, you can see that the aggressive strategy completely dominates the intermediate strategy, offering more value and significantly less cost. We can't say that the aggressive strategy completely dominates the basic strategy, as the basic does cost less, but they are within $1 million of cost to each other. So we would recommend the aggressive strategy since you're getting so much more value for the cost.
So as part of the deterministic analysis and life cycle cost analysis, we did a sensitivity analysis of our swing weight for development time. As you can see, the more you increase the swing weight for development time, the more the aggressive strategy falls in value because it takes the most time to develop. And then the more your basic strategy increases in value because that is the quickest time to market. It does not impact the intermediate strategy significantly, but it is worth noting. So looking at uncertainties in our probabilistic analysis, we picked development time and the market population as the two major uncertainties. The development time is uncertain because of construction time, acquiring the buildings, the resources, developing the degree programs, finding funding sources, among other challenges, while the population and market size can vary based on how the population distributes moving forward in the DFW area, the overall growth or decline of the population of the total area, and then just our marketing strategy and how many people that we reach with the opportunity to attend our nursing college. Looking at the overall cumulative probability chart, you can see that the aggressive strategy deterministically dominates both the intermediate and basic. And going back to the LCC cost model, it also is cheaper than the intermediate. So aggressive is the choice that we would pick unless budget is a primary constraint in which we would recommend the basic strategy. Lastly, we did a sensitivity analysis on the aggressive strategy since it was determined to have the most value. You can see the tornado chart here with the two variables that we varied, with development time having almost a 6-point swing from the lowest to the highest value across the range established, while the market population and overall population size had a minor effect even with large swings in population variance.
And that's our presentation. Thank you for attending.